Back by popular demand from Mark and Col, it's the Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col.
Hey up.
Hey, how do? I couldn't have put it better myself, even though I couldn't get the words out properly, but there you go. Before your very eyes.
Good start.
Aye. Well, you know, I've had my tablets. So okay.
Oh, great.
Before your very eyes, I declare this new Beatleplaces podcast open.
Here.
Hooray! Mark and future poet laureate Col. What?
That's me.
Are here to deliver another homemade hodgepodge of Beatles features, fun facts and more.
Yes.
It's lovely to be here after this awful day we've had.
Yeah,
rain and
that's
stuff.
been
And a
rotten.
pleasure to have your company.
I'm glad I agree with you.
For those keeping notes or writing a complaint, I'm Mark, and the other chap on the other side, way over there in the corner, just hiding behind the wardrobe, who's just finished relagging his loft.
There you go.
Hey!
That'll last a
That's
week.
Col.
That'll last a week.
Aye.
Thank you. What a memory you have. Thank you, goons. And at no cost to yourselves, Mark and Col will take you down through the annals of time.
Is that what it says?
I'm glad spell checker got involved there and didn't autocorrect that bit. Yes, through the annals of time, as we explore and enjoy the greatness of Liverpool's eternally lovable foursome and local legends, the Beatles,
Hooray.
their lives, their legacy. Based in Liverpool, we're always looking at the formative years of John and Paul and George and Ringo and Bert. That's a local joke.
Aye.
Who they knew, where they went, and what made them them. So, what can I tell you more than that? The Beatles continue to fascinate people worldwide, and their mission, our mission, should we accept it,
No.
is to tell you even more about it in this lovely podcast about the Fab Foursome that you didn't know. And if you did, just pretend you didn't.
Aye. Right. Before we carry on, by the way, John, Paul, George, Ringo and Bert, I went to see that at the Everyman Theatre twice.
It was a play, wasn't it?
It was
a
with
play.
Barbara Dixon playing the piano.
See, long time back, but it was a good
And
one.
apparently the Beatles didn't like it very much, but I liked it. I thought I really enjoyed it. That's why I went to see it twice. Anyway, this podcast episode especially goes into great detail on the schools and the teachers that the Beatles went to here in Liverpool.
We did.
We're talking about the teachers who taught me and the characters in and around school who clearly shaped the young boys into young men who went on to conquer the world. Hey! And that's going to surprise a few of you.
There is, yeah. Bit of work in it, but it's worth a listen.
Hi.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's me, isn't it?
You know, yeah.
Hello.
I'll give you a shake.
New balls. As well and also as a
having one.
divertissement. Oh, he speaks funny. We'll have a fun feature on the Lexicon of Liverpool. I've been promising this for yonks.
That's not a pub, is it?
No. It's we usually go to swinging sporring, don't we? So,
Aye. That's how we talk, isn't it?
It's the ways we talks. In other words, the words we use when we talk up here. So, because right now we've got our posh voices on, as Mark can proudly tell. The ones we use to answer the phone or meet the Queen with.
Aye.
So that's the intro got done. What's next, Mark?
In the words of Arthur Askey, on with the shoes, socks, show.
And so we've arrived, and to prove it, we're here with another Beatleplaces podcast with Mark and Col, par excellence.
Very good. That's all the waffle over with now.
That's my
is it?
French O level,
it's
all
fancy.
done, all dusted.
Mum and Dad got their money's worth out of you at that swish finish in school, didn't they?
Well, correction, they got the money back.
Yeah, got the money back.
And,
Yeah. Well, they shut that day. With it.
Fermez les doors. And in this episode, we've got... Now, hang on a minute, Mark. Where's my kettle drums? I had them here somewhere around.
While Col looks aimlessly for his kettle drums, which only got me £8 on eBay, and I'll tell you that in this episode of Beatleplaces Podcast, we've got the Beatleplaces Trivia Quiz, another fiendish collection of Fab Four questions. This month in Beatle history, need I say more? Shut up. The Beatles book review, a chance to sing the praises or pelt with tomatoes, the best and the worst Beatle books out there. And as aforementioned, Col will be relating the school days of John, Paul, George, Ringo and even Stu. All in all, it's what we call a bumper-packed show, folks.
It is, but more importantly, have you seen my kettle drums? They're about yay big, and they make a big noise when you hit them. And they should be ace, because I got a big solo planned. I was going to do the Planet Suite by Holst. All right, let's begin. Here's the first regular feature of the hugely popular podcast in our neck of the woods, the hugely popular Beatleplaces Trivia Quiz.
Hooray!
So lots of people have written in to say they love it, or people at work have said they love it. And namely Mark from Liverpool.
That's me.
And Mr G from Liverpool.
That's me.
The I'm Not Mark from Liverpool.
Could be me.
And Mr I Wish to Remain an Omnibus. From Liverpool.
That could be me.
It's funny. I recognise the handwriting from somewhere. Yeah. Any road, here's Mark. Can his voice go any deeper? Glenister.
Well, that's me. Yeah, right. Here we go. Well, I'm going to give you 3 questions now, and I'll give the questions again a little bit later on, after a few minutes lie down and rest. And then later on in the podcast, I'll give you the answers and see how well you do. It's only a bit of fun, and I'm going to tax Colin's brain, if I can find it. So
hurry up, it's running on empty.
Right. The first question is, what album would you find some greasy legs and a glass box? Okay. What album would you find some greasy legs and a glass box? And question number 2. In the film A Hard Day's Night, which we did a podcast on not that long ago, the train that they filmed on went from Paddington, all right, in London. But where did it go to? And it travelled 2,500 miles in 6 days, which is quite a while, but quite a way. So I want to know where the train went when they're filming Hard Day's Night. It started in Paddington, but where did it go to?
And I'm guessing it wasn't 2,600 miles away.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It was near enough.
Near enough. And also, question number 3. What happened at 11:35 a.m. on the 8th of August, 1969? Okay? So, what album would you find some greasy legs and a glass box? Question number 2. A Hard Day's Night. The filming of it, the train left Paddington, but where did it go to while they were doing the filming? It travelled 2,500 miles in 6 days. And finally, question 3. What happened at 11:35 a.m. on August the 8th, 1969? Okay, that is the quiz.
Play us backwards, and we still don't make any sense. Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col.
So let's see how you fare with those teasers today. You could always skip right to the answers now in 38 minutes and 10 seconds. But that kind of sucks the fun out of it, really. It's a waste of time, and you miss all the bits out in the middle. So just to pass the time between here and there, is my cohort and occasional stunt double, though he is 6 foot taller than me. It's Col with our other regular feature, the Beatleplaces Album Guide to the Fab Four. And this time, it's Rubber Soul. Well, cheers very much. That's Mark, and isn't he great? Oh. Yes, it is, folks. He's not that wrong. It's about Rubber Soul. Thanks to Mark, anyway, for his cerebrally challenging Beatles trivia quiz. You make sure you have a go at those answers and get them to him on a big fat postcard, or just wait. Yeah. Either way. Answers are later on at 38 minutes and 10 seconds, like he said. But there's no questions in this segment. It's just all facts and all interesting features about the Beatles' 6th proper album, Rubber Soul. And it's a real humdinger of an album, I'll tell you, if I say so myself. Oh, it just did. So, Rubber Soul was recorded between June 1965 and November 1965, just in time for Grimbo. It reached number 1, of course, no surprises there. And funnily enough, some critics didn't rate it very highly compared to their previous efforts, but you're the judge, you judge for yourself. And look at the track listing on this. Side 1, Drive My Car. Norwegian Wood, You Won't See Me, Nowhere Man, Think for Yourself, The Word, Michelle, Flip It Over, Think About It, Put the Needle on the Record, Side 2, What Goes On, I'm Looking Through You, In My Life, Wait, If I Needed Someone, and Run for Your Life. So as I read them out,
I can hear myself singing them too. So they're all very well-known songs. And these are just tracks on an album, not singles necessarily. And some are huge classics, massive classics. Yet, as typically happened with Beatles records, the singles were singles and the albums were albums, as the well-known anagram goes.
You've been drinking again.
I'm trying.
Yeah, slow down.
Okay, so the singles were singles and the albums were albums, and never the twain shall meet in terms of inclusion. So Wait was originally intended for Help, the album, and Drive My Car was the first time the band had recorded Past Midnight in EMI's Abbey Road. So the word, the song that is, was a prototype love song, well ahead of Flower Power by at least 2 years. And I'm Looking Through You was a song Paul wrote after he broke up with Jane Asher. All these are in a sort of common knowledge, but in the midst of it, they managed to fit it all into 5 minutes to go and get their MBEs at the same time. So the album cover with them is when they're at their moppiest, toppiest, suede jackets, and it was all by their old photographic stalwart Robert Freeman, who never seems to go away up to this point. The pictures he took were good enough, and when he sought the band's approval, one of the slides he shone onto an album-sized piece of cardboard sort of went all warped. And by the fact that the cardboard fell back a little and stretched the picture it was having shone onto it, the band liked that effect, and that's the one you see on the album cover. How about that? All in all, it's one of those can't miss albums. Classic songs like In My Life, Michelle, Nowhere Man. They all have their own backstories, and it's hardly a disappointing album by any stretch. And especially those tone-deaf music critics long forgotten. So there you go, that's it. It's called Rubber Soul. It came from 1965 from The Beatles.
Can I ask you what your favourite track is on that one? So favourite track on side one.
You know me, I'll change me. I'll change. Literally
I
change
do that as well. But at the moment, just say let's look at side one. This is totally unrehearsed.
Yeah. It looks like it.
So, what would you think your favourite track of side one would be?
Nowhere Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now, Nowhere Man. Next week, Think for Yourself.
I'd like to Think for Yourself. And how about side two?
Side two. A George one, If I Needed Someone, because I like the riff. It's a good riff.
I like Run for Your Life.
Well, funnily enough, John didn't reckon on that one. He just sort of said it was a filler. He didn't put much store on that one.
Yeah.
He dismissed it, if you want to call it that. All the others were super good, but he didn't like that one himself, as far as I know.
Oh well, there you go. He probably changed his mind in a.
Yeah, but it's still damn good.
There you go.
So,
you want the best. You expect the best. You deserve the best. So while you're waiting, here's the Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col.
Onward, ever onward. Let's take a hop, skip and a jump and meet up again with Mark. He's that guy in the corner. In his best bib and tucker with a white tuxedo and top hat to go with it, gold cane. Ooh, he looks glamorous. As he presents one other podcast feature on Beatleplaces with Mark and Col. This month in Beatle history. All yours, sonny boy.
Well, I feel like Frankie Vaughan now, don't I?
Oh, give me the moonlight then.
No, I won't. Right. Why should I give it to you? This month in Beatles history. Anyway, it's only a rented tuxedo.
But it suits you.
I look quite good in it, don't I?
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that rubbish. Once again, let's have a look at some of the chronological events in the Beatles' lifetime. We've got a bit of sort of 3 years on the... Well, not 3 years on the run. Two of them on, one of them isn't. Anyway, September the 10th, 1963. And they... Well, what happened on that day, on the afternoon of September the 10th, the Rolling Stones manager, ex-Beatles publicist Andrew Oldham, was walking down Jermyn Street when a taxi pulled up beside him, waiting for the traffic lights. The window rolled down and a Liverpudlian voice said, "Get in, Andy." It had only been a few months since he had stopped working as the Beatles press agent. In the cab were John and Paul, returning to their hotel after lunch. Knowing that the Beatles like the Rolling Stones, Andrew told them he was looking for a song for them to record. And they dug out I Want to Be Your Man. Andrew was on his way to meet the Stones at Ken Collier's Studio 51 in Great Newport Street, Soho, and John and Paul said they would join him. At the club, they borrowed a couple of guitars from Brian and Keith and launched into the number. There was only one problem. The song didn't have a middle eight. So after a quick conference, John and Paul said that if they really liked the song, they'd finish it off for them. They disappeared into a side room, reappeared a few minutes later. "Forgot something," said Bill Wyman. "No," said Paul, "we just finished the middle eight. How does this sound?" And it became the Rolling Stones' first top 20 hit.
Wow.
Just like that. Just hang on a minute, we'll be back in a sec.
Yeah.
We'll sort it out. And there you go.
Lickety split.
Just like that. So that's what's happened in 1963, September the 10th, with the Rolling Stones. And now we whiz forward a year to September the 5th, 1964. And this time, the Beatles are in Chicago, Illinois, and at the International Amphitheatre. And there have been plans for a civic welcome, and 100,000 people were expected. But Special Events Director Colonel Jack Riley cancelled the arrangement, saying he didn't have sufficient police to spare for a bunch of singers. So Paul commented on TV and radio, "So we'll have to go in by the back door again, and the fans won't get a chance to see us, or we see them. It's a great big drag." Nonetheless, Chicago was ready for the Beatles, and stationed around the auditorium were 320 Chicago cops. One of them, Patrolman Anthony Dizone, remembered the Frank Sinatra days. "This is kind of like Sinatra multiplied by 50 or 100, he observed. So the Beatles plane flew into the rarely used Midway Airport an hour late, and there were 5,000 fans waiting for them. The crowds were so thick the group had to enter through the kitchens. And the one casualty at the airport, a 14-year-old girl, had a cut finger. At the concert, fans were frisked, and all large signs were confiscated. So no fun there for anybody, because they block out the view for other people who are holding up all these signs.
Yeah, entirely right, yeah.
There were lots of sort of things going on. Jelly beans were thrown at them. Candy kisses and anything else that the fans were likely to throw, including probably ladies' underwear. Just Paul was hit in the face as well with a spent flash bulb. So half a dozen fans were taken to the Evangelical Hospital after the show, and the one girl was poked in the eye but left the ambulance to rejoin the audience. Pardon me. After the show, they hurried into waiting cars and straight on to Detroit. So in one end, out the other, shoom, foom, and gone. Pardon me.
It keeps you going, doesn't it, being a Beatle?
Yeah, it's chaos from one minute to the next.
The eye of the storm, as the always
how they
said.
did that
the eye
and
of the
kept
storm.
it up, I do not know.
It was going bonkers around them, but they were kind of okay in between themselves.
Yes, it must have been terrible for them. Oh, there we go. And my book nearly fell off the table to show this as live.
Sorry, I'll get a bigger table.
So I'm very nearly at the bit I want now. So September the 8th, 1968. So we're heading there now. And I'll tell you what happened there. Anybody?
Yeah,
Anybody
go on.
know?
68, well, we're talking a mixture of things. Yellow Submarine was 68. We had the White Album, 68. We had probably the end of Flower Power, 68. Tell me a bit more.
Actually, sorry, it wasn't September the 8th, it was September the 3rd, I do apologise.
Oh.
Ringo returns, because he did leave the group for a short while, because when he came back, his drum kit was smothered in flowers. Welcome back, Ringo, they said. In fact, he did not record that day. The time was spent liberating EMI's new 8-track machine, which is still being evaluated by EMI technical experts. And Ringo said, "I felt tired and discouraged, took a week's holiday, and when I came back to work, everything was all right again." However, he added, "Paul is the greatest bass guitar player in the world, but he's also very determined. He goes on and on to see if he can get his own way. While that may be a virtue, it did mean that musical disagreements inevitably arose from time to time."
Well, we're like that, aren't we?
But yeah, they were glad to have Ringo back. That's September the 3rd, 1968.
That's right, yeah.
And they welcomed him back by covering his drum kit in flowers.
Well. Nice to be appreciated, I always say.
There we go. So that was this month in
I'd rather
Beatles
have
history.
food, but, you know.
Food or
yeah.
flowers?
Food.
Yeah. Oh, well. There you go.
about that. Thanks, Mark. Once again, doing his utmost and proving it with this month in Beatles history. You're listening to Beatleplaces, the podcast with the very own Mark and Col, except no substitutes. So welcome back one and all. Our next Beatles feature is the Beatles book review. And this is when we tell you all about one of the Beatle books that we may have borrowed or never gave back to the library, or we may have even bought it, as random as that. And we talk and judge it on its own merit. So this time I've brought the Mark Lewisohn book, The Beatles Live. And Mark's brought...
I have brought... It's called The Beatles Solo. What happened when, when they separated.
We just talked about them getting together again. Come on, make your mind up.
Yeah, well, each of them, there's 4 books in it.
Oh, see, yeah.
And each one has got its own little bit. But you want to do your bit first?
If you're going to oblige me, that's great.
Right, yes,
okay.
Serpently.
Well,
off you go, son.
It's the most marvellous Beatles author there is, Mark Lewisohn. You can't fail him. He's brilliant at this. He began as a researcher many years ago, and when he had access to, he was helping somebody out prepare some musical archive stuff anyway, he began, slowly and surely, to collect his own Beatles information archive himself. This led to a couple of great books. By the way, he also did an encyclopedia of sitcoms, which is a must if you like sitcoms. But also, Mark Lewisohn catalogued as many live Beatle performances as you can possibly imagine. Thousands of them. And here they are, all itemised in this lovely book. It's certainly a precursor to the Tune-In book and the trilogy of books he's talking about that he's going to bring out. It's one of them ones where literally, in chronological order, as best as he can do it, he has analysed and found out stuff about every gig you can possibly imagine. We're talking about just when the Quarrymen began to just when the Beatles split up entirely. Where they played, what they did, events during the gigs, tours. It all gets a mention. It's in chronological order. I like the introductions, and I like the inserts and newspaper clippings, which I've never seen. They're all pretty new to me. Somehow he's gotten access to the Beatle promoters' diaries, where they booked the Beatles in for like £5, £6 per gig. And lots of little pictures to go with it when they were just playing around the clubs in Liverpool. They did a lot of them, and I can tell you now, at the end of the book itself is what they used to call a flexi disc. It's in there still, flexi disc. And
I bet you haven't played that for years, have you?
It's a flexi disc of the recording, one of the probably the very first interview they did, because it was done by the local hospital radio around the time they were playing at Hume Hall in Port Sunlight in the Whittle.
Well, I know.
I think it was the second one after Ringo joined, and it just shows them there being recorded, being talking to by I've forgotten his name now, Threadgill. Monty Lister was in charge of the recording. Aye. And the recording's all about that. It's about 8-9 minutes long, little recording. It's on flexi-disc. You can find it on the internet these days. It just tops off the book wonderfully because Mark Lewisohn, as ever, no detail is too small. He just goes and gets it. And if you look at it, he follows every day. What astounds you mostly is how many gigs did they play? They played tons of them.
3 or 4 a day sometimes.
Yeah, and often they repeated themselves because they did something like 280-something gigs at the Cavern, not including sort of Cavern-related gigs on boats and stuff like that. And then there's all the rest because they toured the Whittle and they toured Chester, and then they did all the provinces in the area and they took off. And this is that book about them taking off. It proves it from gig 1 when they played in Rosebery Street as the Quarrymen, and it follows them all the way to the end, Candlestick Park, and a bit beyond. It's a great book. It's called The Beatles Live.
So it is.
Mark Lewisohn. It's
nice red cover.
It's a big red cover book. I think it's great. It's a bit old because it's got that record thing at the beginning, but I'm sure there's a version you can get hold of where you can download it or whatever. But like I say, you can get hold of this stuff. When did it come out? Oh, blimey, 1986.
Good heavens.
So, worthwhile, worth a read, and in the next podcast I'll talk about a terrible book. So just to prove we are contrasting. Mark, I'm going to hand over to you now, mate.
How do? Right. Well, I'm going to review, as I said just before, a set of 4 books in a box called The Beatles Solo, and it's the illustrated chronicles of John, Paul, George and Ringo after the Beatles. Written by a bloke called Matt Snow, published by Race Point Publishers, in a nice box there.
It is, yeah.
And
it's very pretty.
It is. And just skimming through, the first book is...
who have you soloed out?
Each one, Paul McCartney.
Paul's first.
And, for instance, there's pictures of, not in the Beatles, but his first album, getting married to Linda, stuff like that, how they sent Mr. Eastman a letter to say, this is to inform you of the fact you're not authorised to act or hold yourself as our attorney. A picture of that, pardon me. And bits and pieces from the other Beatles as well. For instance, Paul wanted to carry the group on, and people were ignoring him. He didn't want to do this. They didn't want to do it with him. And Paul got depressed and directionless, and Paul admitted that he hit the bottle a bit later on when things didn't quite work out.
He said it was like redundancy, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like being a working class fella on the docks, and you were made redundant. You know, that emptiness.
Nothing going on. Yeah. There's some lovely pictures of Wings when they first started off. Pictures of Michael Jackson. Paul doesn't half look young in some of these photographs. Pictures of him with George Martin. And all the tracks that he's done from then until now. Quick look at George's book. And the same sort of thing, really. A bit of where he did... the Holy Grail, where he saved the Monty Python film.
He had a film career, didn't he? More than the others did.
He saved that film, along with quite a few other people as well, helped out. Pink Floyd did it as well, helped out. Pictures of him with Eric Clapton, and playing with Bob Dylan, and also Ravi Shankar, and some nice pictures of, where was it? With Madonna as well. Nice picture of Madonna.
Shanghai Surprise, I remember now, yeah.
And then we'll have a quick look at Ringo. Basically, the same sort of thing, nice pictures. A lot of pictures of his albums and stuff like that. Ringo with very, very long hair, looking like Frank Zappa, as is the picture there.
There's 400 Motels, I think he did a movie called.
Yeah. So that's... And finally, a little bit of John. Some nice pictures of John as well. There's a nice index in the back of it.
It's in a good chronological order, isn't it?
Picture credits and stuff like that. Picture of him outside Mendips there. And pictures with Yoko and May Pang. So, yeah, I can recommend that book.
It's good that they can focus on them.
It's a nice collection of...
It's an individual retrospective, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nothing to do with the Beatles as such, but individual...
And how they lived,
and
really.
how they lived, and how the Beatle sort of persona infiltrated their personal stuff as well on their solo careers.
It always did. That's what we're here for.
They couldn't get away from it, really. So that is the book I have reviewed at this time, called The Beatles Solo. 4 books, illustrated chronicles of John, Paul, George and Ringo. And it came out in 2003, I think it was. 2013. Do apologise. So there you go. Matt Snow, The Beatles Solo. That's it.
That's a goodbye, isn't it?
Aye.
Well, goodbye to that.
A goodbye. Not yet, though.
No, we've got more to come, folks.
Aye.
Right. Welcome to the show. Got to mention the quiz. There's always a quiz, and then put some trivia things out there, and then we'll have a review of the books, and then we've got to do an album review, and we've got to get Mark tell some jokes, because he's got to be funnier, must be funnier, and then we can end with the song, and that'll do, I think. Whew. By Jove. It's hard work, this typing.
Okay, Beatles peoples, it's special feature time.
Have we got an orchestra handy? Where's my kettle drums?
Oh, you're not still looking for those, are you? Don't tell them I've sold them. Right, the teachers who taught me. And coming up to the lectern, it's the man himself. Comb your hair now. It's the author of the e-book Beatleplaces and numerous other Beatles books. The irrepressible, the unforgettable. Who is it? Oh, it's Col. Col, that's it, sorry. Col. Down to you now.
Cheers, chum. And I hope your memory gets better.
Pardon?
It's true, folks. It's feature time. We're talking about the teachers who taught me. And there's a lot of teachers and there's a lot of taughting going on. But we're also going to talk about schoolmates, schools and so on. This was a big formative phase in the Beatles' lifetime. And during their childhood and becoming teenage lads, they had a lot to do with school and it made a difference to them. They met their friends there and so on. All the Beatles had something to say about their childhoods, especially the schools they went to. And what's true is they flourished creatively and personally because of all the friends they made. And all those things they did there, and all the teachers who certainly influenced them. There's a few we're going to mention. Some were good, some were bad. This was, like I said, very formative period of their lives when rock and roll music turned up as well. So it couldn't have been a more important period. So Paul made a great number of friends in Liverpool Institute, including Ivan Vaughan, and he met Neil Nasp and all there. And without that happening, Paul may never have met John, if you think about it. Even George met Paul simply because they went on the same bus together to the same school. From the start, he proved like John was going to be something similar because he made lifelong friends from infant school and he carried on trying to be sort of reactive to authority and so on, going against the grain, sometimes being in trouble for it at grammar school, in spite of him being very intelligent, very able. So John managed to get against all the odds and flukily, is that a real word? Yeah. He got into our college thanks to his teachers and his Auntie Mimi, and once more he met some of the most influential people in his life, in his brief period of life, but it was a dynamic life. It was here he found love and he found loss and he found rock and roll. So here's my collection of all those research details. I'm going to paraphrase a fair bit because there's hundreds of them, and I have promised this for a couple of podcasts, but it's such a big document. We'll cover those formative periods for those formative times for those people in the Beatles.
A bit at a time.
A bit at a time. Piecemeal, if you will.
Aye.
Quickly, Ringo Starr, he went to an infant school called St Silas. It wasn't far from home. And it was run by a headmistress called Kathleen McNutt, who lived not far away. And there was a teacher there called Enid Williams, who seems to have recalled Ringo as a child and said she taught him percussion in his lessons, though it's more likely he learned more from a lady called Vera Wentworth in Liverpool Hospital in Heswell. So another story, another time. In terms of John, he went to an infant school called Moss Pits, but not for very long. He was expelled from there for upsetting a girl there who he shouldn't have hurt. A lady called Pauline Hipshaw. I think he might have just banged her on the head or something like that. Paul, meanwhile, with his brother Mike, they went to Stocky Wood in Belvale, I think that is. And Paul attended here for just a while, but the numbers of the classes were so big post-war and they were so large that Paul and Mike had to go to a different school called Joseph Williams School. And there they met a fellow called Harry Neal with a K. And he was a lovely fella by all accounts because they nicknamed him Pop, like most headmasters were called. And he was a nice enough guy anyway. But when they went to this school, they had a new headmaster called John Gore. And what he liked was showing the kids the countryside and appreciating wildlife. So you wonder where Paul got his influences from, for liking things in the country and singing songs about it. That might be the guy to blame.
The heart of the country.
That's the country. That's the country. Yeah, lovely in the country. Now, strangely, if anyone knows the answer to this, you'll be very rich. But there was a guy who's a teacher called Mr. Spiller, and he made a little cine film of the kids in that school at that time when they were doing PE. And Brother Mike and Paul were involved in being filmed. But who knows if the film's still there, or it exists even. So, who was left? George was left, John was left, but they went to the same school. They went to Dovedale Road Primary School. And the headmistress there was a lady called Maud Woolley. And there was another headmaster called Robert Evans. And of course, his nickname, like most headmasters were called, Pop. They called him Pop. And he managed the junior school at Dovedale. Now, the teacher there that was memorable is a fellow called Fred Bolt, because Fred Bolt was one of John's teachers. Bit of a disciplinarian, but he took the kids on day trips and holidays and things like that they weren't used to. Took them to the Isle of Man, and it was John who painted a picture of Fred, and it appeared on John's 1974 album Walls and Bridges, if anyone remembers it. It's poor old Fred, he's got these horrible round glasses in it.
I know that.
It's a kid's picture, but it's memorable. And there's Fred Bolt, large as life. There was another teacher in that same school, Dovedale, that was George's form teacher. But unfortunately, he was a little bit rough and ready with George one time, and he hit him on the wrist, which left a mark. And William Lyon was the teacher's name. What happened was George's dad, Harry, came to the school to find out who left the mark on George's wrist, and he basically punched him. So he punched Mr. Lyon for hitting his son. And moving on, of course, there were famous people around him in the same school. That included a Mary Elizabeth Davidson. Now, Mary Elizabeth Davidson was better known as Beth Davidson, and she ended up being the girlfriend of Pete Shotton. And Pete Shotton and her married, and unfortunately, she had a kind of a short life because she died in 1977. But she was a trainee nurse at Smithdown Hospital. That I found out anyway. And she was supposedly the pretty nurse who sits with the flowers in the tray at Penny Lane.
Penny Lane.
So it said. I can't prove that. Who can? One fact nobody really knows until I looked it up was the first girlfriend George Harrison can probably claim he had was at Dovedale Road School as well. And her name is a Welsh name, and she was called Valmai, Valmai, Roberts. And she lived in Wavertree like everyone else did in the neighbourhood. So Valmai was a very pretty Welsh girl who came from Monmouthshire. And she was there, for about 2 or 3 years, and George and a couple of other lads in school fancied her silly. So it turns out that was probably George's first girlfriend. But she went back to Wales, she married in the 60s, and she might remember it, but George might remember it as well. So in terms of secondary schools, which is the next stage, 11 onwards, for most people in the UK, Ringo went to a place called Dingle Vale, but at that point in time he was took very ill, and there wasn't a lot to his education thereafter. He recalls a couple of teachers, but nobody can kind of remember him being there, so that's a bit of a sad state of affairs. But there was one guy worth a mention, a fellow called Jerry Dawson, and Jerry Dawson was the PE, physical instruction trainer. And what he did as well was he taught drama, and Ringo got involved in that and remembered being involved in that. And as you can tell, and as you know, Ringo did quite a few movies, and he kind of liked being in the limelight and drama and being theatrical. So maybe it all began with that, who can tell. So secondary school for the other people in the Beatles, that included John. John went to Quarrybank. And now just harp onto this, you'll like this. Quarrybank was what they call a traditional British grammar school. It upheld all the pomp and all the ceremony of quality seats of learning somewhere else in the country, and it aimed to turn their clever students into academics and industry leaders and big people like that. Their teachers were called school masters. That's the way it's pronounced, Mark.
Masters.
Masters.
With an R?
Yeah, I'd say masters.
I would say masters. Yep.
But if you want to picture them, they wore mortarboards and they even had gowns on.
Oh.
And Quarrybank itself had an in-house magazine called The Quarry. It had a debating society. It even had an italic handwriting society. And it even had Gulp, a beekeeping society.
Wow.
Yeah. We never had none of this.
No, we never had that either.
So this is where John took his rebelliousness to another level. He was on detention 29 odd times over 10 months.
Wow.
And somebody had found his detention slip amongst some records way back when, and that's gone on auction for sale. And a lot of the teachers who basically put him on detention, I'm going to mention in just a wee bit. But John still had affection for his old school, Quarrybank. He kept his old school tie, and he always wore it when he was around New York City, when he was in the Dakota building. He just sort of remembered it in a romantic way. He liked it. And, of course, he liked the headmaster who looked after him because he got him into Liverpool College of Art. There's some teachers there, and there's plenty I found, because these teachers, they had a reputation that everybody talked about them, but there would be teachers who got a mention in John's comic magazine called The Daily Howl. One was a fellow called Harry Doach. Edward Shears was another teacher. He taught history, and his nickname was Clipper, and he had nothing to do with Billy Shears. Before you start, there was a lot of teachers. All these teachers had silly nicknames, but one of them I kind of like, and I'm drawn to, was a fellow called Richard Lancelot Burrows. He taught English, and his nickname was Porky. Don't ask me why. But he introduced John to Edward Lear and Lewis Carroll, and he encouraged John with all the stuff he wrote. So that's a good thing. He was a good teacher. There were some awful ones, but there was another good one. There was a John Yule, and he lived in the neighbourhood of where John came from. A lot of teachers lived in pretty much the same area called Woolton. And John Yule taught mathematics, and his nickname was Fred. He was quite a character, though. He used to be an RAF navigator and a gunner in World War II, and he was awarded for bravery, but that was probably because he lost a leg in the war, and he wore a metal one instead, which creaked when he walked down the corridors. Oh. So this warned all the kids in the school that he was coming, but he was a big guy, and he was able to lift kids up in the air, including John on some occasions. What I like here is something that's just local to us, really. There was a caretaker, and his name was Albert Yoxall, and he was a caretaker, just did the bins, tidied up, did things like that. And he was a groundsman at Quarry Bank, and his nickname was Yocker. And we know what Yocker means round here.
Aye.
It means...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Scouse for saliva. Spit, gob, whatever you want to call it. And John mentions him too in his Daily Howl magazine. The one teacher who stood out for John, I think, was his headmaster, which was William Popjoy. He was locally born, and he had a talent for languages, and he had a couple of degrees, to be honest. But by the time he reached Quarry Bank in 1956 odd, he was there, and he replaced a fairly stringent headmaster called Ernie Taylor. And luckily, he sympathised with John. He kind of understood him. And him and his cohort, Pete Shotton, who were a pair of characters to say the least, with all the various deeds and acts, he didn't sort of tell them off too much. He suspended them for a week at one time, but he didn't do much more than encourage them to probably think about what they were doing. And luckily, he wrote a letter to the College of Art, along with Auntie Mimi's insistence, to make an appeal to get John enrolled there because he was artistic after all was said and done. That took a long while to happen, but it turns out William Popjoy was considered by the local Merseysiders to be one of our 100 greatest Merseysiders. He was voted in 2013. And I think John Lennon's got a lot to thank him for, because so much wouldn't have happened otherwise.
There's no statue of him, though, is there, really?
Not really, no.
No.
But if you go past Quarry Bank, it's called Calderstones now, as we know. Different name for the school, but still the old school. It just reminds me of all that time when they would muck about, and it was all close to the girls' school anyway. So you can imagine what else happened as well. So quite a few schoolmates that John got involved with. The one I can mention was Jeff Lee, and Jeff Lee was a local lad. He was nicknamed George Henry. George Henry and the surname Lee means something to people in Liverpool, because that was the name of a big department store. So when he had a name like Lee, you couldn't help but call him George Henry Lee, because that was the name of our biggest department store.
Aye.
Yeah, so Jeff shared desks with John, and at one time when John was getting interested in skiffle and music and blah, blah, he even loaned him his own guitar, his own acoustic guitar. So it was Jeff himself who suggested, and I suppose he can claim for this, that John should form a band, and so the Quarrymen were born. Now, there's an interesting thing I pulled up very quickly, which was about the school band. You know how I mentioned a few minutes ago about there was an in-house magazine, and at one time around October 57, the Quarry Bank teachers agreed, let's have a social evening, get the things rolling with the girls' school opposite, and we'll have a dance night. So the sixth formers of the school were invited to get a traditional jazz band, what they call a trad jazz band, together. And they were going to invite the girls from Col, the girls, just up the road from him. And they were going to just have a sort of dance night. And it was John Lennon who was also told to get involved, because someone at one of those meetings then mentioned about John, being keen on music and so on, very into skiffle, and maybe he could make a makeshift school band with a few mates. So John agreed, and he roped in Pete Shotton and a fella called Bill Smith, and they played for about half an hour. Probably not very good, but the comments were they weren't great, and they got 10 shillings, or what we call 10 bob, for doing all that. So them and a few other occasions led to the formation of the Quarry Bank band, the Quarrymen. The Quarry Bank School, in the magazine I mentioned, there was a student there called Ronald Bentham, and what he mentioned was a little feature about the school bands. In there was, he emphasised how everybody was obsessing about skiffle at the time. And it's an interesting little article. It's probably been ignored for a long time, but he says that he's sympathetic to newer music, because he was a sixth former at the time, probably interested in jazz. And he wrote a thing about jazz and newer music coming through. And he said how a lot of the school were obsessed with skiffle and the new rock and roll. And I suppose that incorporated more than just John Lennon. It probably affected hundreds of kids in the school and how much it gripped them.
Yeah, so everybody wanted to go, didn't they?
Oh yeah, I mean, if anything's, nowadays you call it trending, but
a tea chest and a
and
a banjo.
It's all it took. It's all it took. So, John, Quarry Bank, happy times. Moving down literally into town, because Quarry Bank is based in a place called Allerton, and that's a few miles out of town. And if you come to town, the city of Liverpool we call town. There is another school of learning. They're called Liverpool Institute. That's where Paul and George went. So it had a grand history anyway, but the thing was, it was a grammar school. And it, just like Quarry Bank, had very high standards of quality teaching. So if your child passed the 11 plus exam system, and they went to a school and it was the Liverpool Institute, you're doing very well.
Very impressive building, isn't it? It's very... Very nice.
It still is nice to look at, isn't it? It's architecturally, it's something else. It took a bus ride, though, to get into town for for Paul and George. And you could see how, same uniform, they would have spotted each other going to school, getting off a Catherine Street bus stop, walking down to the school, probably buying some cigarettes on the way. So the building itself is literally connected to the Liverpool College of Art. So by one way or another, by circumstance, by happenstance, they would have met John Lennon somewhere or other, at the Chippy or somewhere.
Sure.
So George never quite liked his school, even though Paul kind of liked his school. The recollections are a little bit mixed here. But they all made great friends and even remembered some of their favourite teachers in later life in their solo recordings. Paul also never forgot what school meant to him, because he got involved with the LIPA organisation, the Performing Arts team. And they rebuilt and refurbished the old Liverpool Institute, because it was a bit of a dump for quite a few decades after Paul left. Okay, quick run around with the teachers. And there's a few here. There's one called John Sweeney. And some teachers were old boys. In other words, they used to go to Liverpool Institute as kids themselves, and they came back. What I like about John Sweeney was, it was recollected by, there's still a alumni website, and it's called the Leobians, and the Leobians talk about all their favourite old teachers. And here's a little summary of what they said. John Sweeney taught Spanish, room 10, old boy. He was a clear favourite with lots of pupils and famous for his put-down riposts such as, "You horrible toad."
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Here's a good one. Dennis Booth, nicknamed Danny. He was a vice principal at the Institute later life, became a headmaster too. He taught German. And towards the end of summer, when things get a bit more lax with kids in school, they were allowed to bring the guitars in. Paul and George certainly did that. And he told them to put them away and they could play them at the end of day. So that's fair enough. The school's sixth form had over 200 pupils, and when they had free periods, they were advised to go and sit there and study in the school library. One day, Mr. Booth went to the library and he only found about 40 boys studying there. The rest, it turned out, were all down at the cabin watching the Beatles. Watching the Beatles play.
Why not?
So he frog marched them back to school. Oh dear. I've got to get to one here. There's a strange one. There's plenty of teachers. One of Paul's very first teacher was a lady, Mary Inkley, and her nickname was Fanny. She taught Spanish, and Paul remembers the Spanish she taught her because he often repeats it in the gigs he does. So, little story there. There was a fella called Archibald Moy.
I knew you'd pick this one.
I had to go there.
I knew you'd pick this one.
Archibald, his nickname was Fungi, Moi, I'm not sure. Anyway, he taught French, roommate. He was an expert in what they call pocket billiards. Okay,
Yes.
have I said enough?
You have.
I have, right. Yeah, he was memorable for that. But of course, there was a lovely teacher called Nicky Naylor, and he taught chemistry and maths. Paul told a story about Nicky Naylor. He said he had a gravelly voice, and Paul's an excellent mimic because he can mimic singers and songwriters and so on, and he can mimic people too very well. And he used to mimic Nicky Naylor, and Nicky Naylor left the classroom one time, and Paul pretended to be Nicky Naylor by going, "I'm Nicky Naylor." And sure enough, right behind him, there was Nicky Naylor, waiting to send him to the headmaster. He was very quick-witted and very sarcastic, old Nicky Naylor. A good laugh, though, a good laugh. I'll finish wrapping up the teachers in just a tick. Of course, don't forget that John's uncle was a fellow called Alfred Smith, and he taught at the Innie. He was known as Sissy. Because he was a very classily dressed teacher. He wore a silk hanky, top pocket, and he made quite an impression on everybody. But he didn't like the kids. He just didn't like them. He called them capless cretins, scavengers. He called them all guys. Yeah. And he was also involved with the Boy Scouts. So go figure. Go figure. I was going to get to one here. Blip. Blip is the nickname for Bertram Lloyd Parker. Bertram Lloyd Parker. I suppose the initials led to the blip bit. And he taught geography, and he was renowned for just regurgitating lessons to nobody's interest, including his own. And when Paul came and toured with his band in the 70s at the Royal Court in Liverpool, the kids came from the school, and Blip came along with him, and Paul waved to Blip and said, "Hello, Blip." God bless him. Now, the one I thought really needs to mention is a fellow called Stan Reed. Stan Reed was a guy who literally lived a hop, skip and a jump from the school in a place called Blackburn Terrace. He taught art, and Paul appreciated his art because he did lessons after school with old Stan. And Stan was he was in the Royal Academy for some time, and famously he has a lot of pictures out there for sale, and he's quite a guy. George too appreciated him because he mentioned him on the cover of one of his Dark Horse albums with the OM symbol above him, because Stan was a sort of a wild character, very eclectic. He was a keen musician, he liked the piano, he liked astronomy, and of course he was a nice fella, and sadly he died about 1980, and that's our friend Stan Reed. So I can cover quite a few more, but there's just no time. There's just no time. Tons and tons and tons of teachers, tons and tons more. So what I'm going to do now is say thank you very much for listening so far. I think what we should do now is we shall go back and we shall visit Mark, who's ready to do the Beatle trivia questions again.
Just a reminder. Hi. Go and have a lie down there, Colin. You've worn your vocal cords out there. So
ring my masseurs.
Oh, all right. So just harking back a little bit earlier on to the trivia quiz, which I set earlier on. So 3 questions. Just as a reminder, I'll give you the answers quite soon. So the 3 questions are, number 1, what album would you find some greasy legs and a glass box? All right. Question number 2, A Hard Day's Night, in the filming of it, the train travelled from Paddington 2,500 miles in 6 days, but where did it go to when they were filming from Paddington to where? It travelled somewhere, because obviously, you know, they had to have shots of the train shooting past stations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So where did it go to? And it always came back again as well, I presume. And finally, question number 3, what happened at 11:35 a.m. on the 8th of August, 1969? Okay?
Yeah.
So what album would you find some greasy legs and a glass box? A Hard Day's Night filming, where did it go to when the train left Paddington? Where did it go to? And what happened at 11:35 on the 8th of August, 1969? The answers are coming pretty soon.
Yeah, sooner than we think.
Aye.
That's not saying much.
No.
So I thought when we've had a long spell to talk about the teachers, I'll certainly rekindle that another time, another podcast, another time.
Aye.
We're going to have a bit of fun now.
Go on then.
We're going to talk about the Lexicon of Liverpool.
Oh, aye.
So I just thought we had to talk about this. My brother's a language teacher, and he would certainly say, you've got to talk about it at some point, so I'm going to. Here it is, get ready. The Lexicon of Liverpool, the language we speak. It's a funny one, isn't it? We talk something called Scouse. And people born in Liverpool are called Scousers, and the word Scouse is taken from the name of a very simple stew that the locals used to make out of cheap cuts of meat and veg.
Came over with the Norwegian sailors. They called it lobscouse.
Ah, well, you've got the origins all sorted out, because it's a bit Welsh as well, as far as I know. Right. That kind of sums up the people of Liverpool as well. We're a bit of a mixture. And Scouse is like the food. And we have this unique dialect, which is a mixture of Lancastrian, Irish, a bit of Welsh, sinusitis, and a teensy bit of English, if there's any room left in your nostrils. And you could drive, no more than 10 miles out of Liverpool, and the accent is just so different. I mean, we've got our posh phone voices on tonight. Oh, we could talk,
absolutely.
We could talk properly, like, and we'd talk twice as fast, and then we wouldn't understand each other. But that's what Scouse is. People who talk Scouse are from the region known as Merseyside. Liverpool's on the bank of the River Mersey. And people from Liverpool, Merseyside include Liverpool, all the suburbs of places called Everton, Walton, Dingle, Allerton, Bootle, Woolton, West Derby, Childwall, it goes on, Kirkdale, Nottingham, that's just a few. And it's got a neighbour just across the water from the River Mersey called Birkenhead, which is nicknamed the One-Eyed City. And you can look that one up if you like. But in a way, it's exactly the same. The Scouse dialect can be very broad, and the words used change with the times, of course, but they're always laid with typical Scouse overtones. You listen to the Beatles, and we would say that sometimes they're being kind of posh a little bit, not so heavy on the accent.
Some people talk like that, don't they?
They do.
With the mouth wide open.
Yeah.
Others talk like that. There's a comedian called Peter. I've forgotten the second name now.
Serafinowicz?
No. I think he's long gone now. He used to be a lecturer at Liverpool University. Liverpool Technical College, which is now John Moores University, and he said that the Scouse accent started over in Ireland, where they talk like that with the mouth wide open in Southern Ireland. And they go up Northern Ireland, and the mouth is half shut. They're all talking like that. And they come over to Liverpool, they shut the mouth all together, and they're all talking like that.
Well, that's the lecture done, isn't it? I mean, he's not wrong. It's just what it is. And Paul's always said he never had a very broad accent. John seemed to have changed his accent a little bit. Ringo's probably got the most consistent, and George certainly had a good strong accent because he was from Wavertree.
Very nasally, George, isn't he?
But we've all got the old adenoidal issues going on. The main thing I want to take away with this lexicon thing is the dialect's one bit, but the other bit's our sense of humour, which is spelled with a Y, by the way. It's usually very quick, very dry, and very sarcastic, like a good cocktail, and very self-deprecating. And it's, like I said, it's distinctly adenoidal in it, Mark. So, Scouse words and language, they're a whole subject on their own, but I thought I'd test the podcast audience tonight with a few tonight. So, see if you make a D's, spelled with a D.
Right, go on then.
By the way, we often trim down words with a D, because a D at the front will do. Fine.
You do.
And these becomes D's.
Aye.
So we do, don't we? Do.
We do.
Oh, we do.
We do, don't we?
Oh, that we do. So, all right, right. You'll know it, but let's just, I'll say it, you translate.
Go on then, all right.
Right. What
in
is
my best voice.
Right, Scouse to English. What is something that's antwacky?
Antwacky or antwacky? Well, actually, it means old-fashioned, stuff like that. Bit antwacky.
Yeah. Like antique.
Antique,
yeah,
I think.
I reckon, yeah.
So antique, so...
Always wants to go there.
Antique, so you say antwacky.
I say antwacky, yeah. Okay, brassic.
Brassic. Well, it's rhyming slang, actually. It's brassic lint, or brassic lint, or skint.
Yeah,
I'm a bit brassic.
It's a bit cockney, isn't it, really?
Aye.
Yeah. Okay, how about scran?
Scran is food, like,
Yeah.
Bit of a nosh.
We need some scran.
Aye.
Good on you. So
A nice
far,
pork
so
pie
far
or
you're doing
something
quite
like
well.
that.
You haven't misordered your food lately. How about Goodnight Vienna, which was a Ringo song? Goodnight Vienna.
That's it. It's all over and done with.
It's all over. That's it.
Yeah.
Goodnight Vienna.
Actually, Rising Damp, the programme Rising Damp used to be on with Leonard Rossiter, an old Liverpudlian actor. He called his cat Goodnight Vienna because that was the last thing. He put the bins out, put the cat out. That was the last thing he did at night. Goodnight Vienna, and the cat was off. That's why he called it Vienna. So anyway,
Aussie, O-Z-Z-Y, Aussie.
Aussie. That's the hospital, I would presume.
It's
Yes.
right. Yeah, it's right.
Aye.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Carry on. That's
It's like talking to
Please.
Professor Henry Higgins. He's making sense of what I'm saying here. Kidder.
Kidder.
Our
That's it.
kid. Kidder.
Not a thing I used because being an only child, I didn't have an R-Kid. But my brother, my sister,
I have.
my younger brother,
Yeah.
my older sister, whichever.
Even my sister's our kid.
Aye.
Chocker.
Chocker is full up. Can't get any more in. This bus is chocker. I can't get on it.
Kex.
Buy me trousers, me pants,
Yeah, kex.
me legs.
Billy No Mates.
That's me. I think I haven't got any friends.
Well, you will do if this podcast doesn't work.
Sure.
Busies.
Yeah. How that came about, I don't know, but it's policemen.
Yeah.
The busies, the
Yeah.
business, probably the business
Men
is on
of
the
the
way.
constabulary.
That's what it means. Oh, the business is coming, so they call them the busies.
I've got a cob on.
Ah, have you? Right. Well, that means he's in a bit of a knack, which is another one. He's slightly annoyed. Colin is.
Sagging off.
Ah, that means not going to school.
Yeah.
Spelt Skewl. So sagging off school, doing a bit of truancy.
Last one. Gegging in. I'm gegging in.
Well, that's relatively new, really, because my son started using it at school. And what are you talking about, gegging in? That means sort of joining in with the rest of the group, really.
Yeah. I like you said, it develops, doesn't it? So, not mentioning all the rude ones.
No.
But there's plenty to go around, I promise you that. So that's typically what you'd hear in a typical conversation.
There's an excellent couple of books out called Learn Yourself Scouse.
Oh, yeah.
Little ditty
Fritz.
book. Yeah, Fritz
Spiegel.
Just a little ditty book, and it's got all sort of funny phrases in it. If you can find it, it's a good laugh. So that's that.
I hope that was a good laugh for you, the Lexicon of Liverpool. And at some point in the future, we'll just say things out loud. Now you'll understand what we're babbling on about.
I doubt it, really. Never know. You never know. Right, should I do the old questions again?
That's a good idea.
Right.
Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col. Serious radio broadcasting.
Okay, right. The Beatleplaces Trivia Quiz. Back in my normal voice.
It's answer time, though, isn't it?
It is, yes. Well, I'll give you the questions and then I'll give you the answers.
Woohoo!
One after the other. Right, the question number one was, what album would you find some greasy legs and a glass box? Any idea?
Real puzzle, that one. That's a great question.
Aye.
And I'm thinking, is it
It's not a Beatles album.
Okay, it'll be a George album.
It is a George album.
Is it to do with Legs Larry, his mate?
I don't think so.
Greasy glass.
Well, I had a question about the record album, record label. In a previous one, the Zapple record label, and it was the first album on that label. And it was Wonderwall by George Harrison.
Oh, yeah.
So two of the tracks on that
Native
album.
Parish.
Yep. Greasy Legs was one track, and Glass Box was another track.
Oh, right. Okay.
There's a few other tracks on it as well.
Yeah, there is.
I haven't played that album for years and years and years, to be honest.
There is only one track I always remember, which is Party Seekum.
Something like that,
Yeah, Party Seekum, which is about a place in the Whittle.
Aye. So that's that one. Question number two. A hard day's night filming, all on the train. Well, some of it, quite a bit of it on the train. The train travelled from Paddington Station in London. But where did it go to? Travelled 2,500 miles in 6 days while they're doing all this filming, up and down the track, on the stations and running alongside the train and all stuff like that. But where did the train travel to? It travelled to Minehead
Somerset.
in Somerset, which is a county in the south of England. Very nice,
Bit of a
rural
distance,
county.
yeah, but yeah, I suppose.
Travelled all the way down there and all the way back again.
Yeah,
so
had
it
to
travelled
do.
from Paddington to Minehead.
Okay.
And finally, what happened at 11:35 a.m. on the 8th of August, 1969? Any idea at
Well,
all?
I'm thinking about the dissolution of the Beatles Limited.
Not really, not quite. There's a bit of controversy, a bit of a sort of...
You know I'm rubbish at dates.
Aye. Well,
He just agreed with me straight away there.
what was taken was a picture.
Oh, the Abbey Road picture.
It's the Abbey Road picture that was taken at 11:35 a.m. on the 8th of August 1969. It's taken by Ian Macmillan, the photographer. It's Paul's idea, and Ian took quite a few photographs of them crossing the road in various John first or John last and George at the front and doing sort of different steps. But it was Paul's idea, and he picked the picture. He picked the shot to use on the album cover.
It just is a great.
So
it just
it's
is a great picture. Have you ever
Iconic
noticed?
picture.
Yeah, it just
Old
is.
striding across.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Oh wow.
There you go.
Okay, I always get the date thing wrong. Anyway.
Never mind. I tax you.
Yeah. You certainly did, and you won on points there.
Thank
well,
you.
Well done.
A fiver, please, if you've got one.
So, in 10 words or less,
Aye.
I think we're done.
Oh, that's only 4.
Oh,
It's wrong. It's time to wrap up anyway. Enough of your rubbish. Shut up for a wee while and give this Beatleplaces podcast a good home now. Give it a lie down and a big hug now that it's house trained. Don't fret, dear listener. Col and Mark will return very soon
yes.
with yet another Beatleplaces podcast with more rubbish, the usual features, and the same jokes.
it's got to be the same jokes.
Aye, and the same presenters. Nobody knew. So
We could switch seats for a difference.
oh, so there you go. Yeah.
So, we're wishing every one of you, him and her over there,
And him over there.
all well, and we'll catch you all next time on the Beatleplaces podcast with Mark and Col.
Aye, that's it, I think. Here's a fiver for your troubles and a chocolate biscuit. That's about it, really.
Right, now we're finished, aren't we?
Yeah, that's done.
Right, that's done. Now, help me find these bloody kettle drums.
Yes, well, I don't know
I had
where
to
did
be-
you put them?
I put them over. They were big things, big round.
Were they under a sheet? Well,
They're somewhere. I can't say where.
shall I have a look in the pantry? Will you put them out there? No. The garden? No.
They are somewhere.
Thanks for listening to the Beatleplaces podcast with Mark and Col. We hope to see you again soon, and don't forget to visit the gift shop on the way out where you can buy all sorts of stuff.